Artist Journal, September 6th. It's quickly flying by. 2022, Berlin. My name is Adrian Pocobelli, welcoming you back. I keep expecting the pace to slow down. What I maybe loosely call masterpieces to sort of slow down, but instead it seems like they're speeding up. Like we're getting more and more of them. It's like a new day, a new talent discovery. This was another one right here. And so again, like where this goes, no one knows. I mean, it's always tempting to say, okay, and we want to project our narratives onto how this is all going to turn out. But where this goes, no one knows. I was thinking to myself as I was drinking coffee, it's like the contemporary art world had kind of, and I don't blame them entirely. Everybody's just trying to do the best they can. It's what we have to assume here. Okay. But it's like the talent had been so kind of narrow, like what was getting through the filter that was getting through the contemporary art world. And it's almost so bottled up for decades, like arguably since like the 90s. You could argue that. I mean, I'm speaking in massive generalizations here, but to speak in general terms, as people who have been paying attention, probably a lot of you would sympathize. It's like and I think it's just a truism, but anyway, it's like the talent was so narrow that was getting through. It's like it was all bottled up. And now we're just getting like this explosion, like a champagne bottle being opened of talent coming out, a Cambrian explosion of sorts. And we're here to talk about it, all of us here, you and me. And so here we are. So let's keep this as short as possible because there's no need to waste anybody's time here. So another piece, this is by, let's see here, Daucante Draws, kind of, from what I can tell, a fairly new player on the scene here. I mean, when was the first mint? August 29th. So I believe Daucante is a woman, but don't quote me on that. You can never, it looks like a woman out of, I think I saw on her Twitter, Illustratress. So again, I think we can call her a she. I think she was out of Lithuania, is what Vilnius, Lithuania. And I tell you, like, if I had gone to like a local contemporary art gallery, like Perez Projects or you name it, the one across the street whose name I can't remember too, they're in Friedrichshain in Berlin, and I saw this, I'd go, oh, that was well worth my visit. That was a good visit. Okay? And we see this piece, which is called Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire. And again, it's just a head turner. It's got the aesthetics and it's got the conceptual kind of interest. It's got the ambiguity that is kind of required. It's not too literal, at least not for me. Maybe you can explain to me what's going on in here. I mean, all I see is kind of what seems to be another satire of sorts with making fun of the police, with their donuts here. We have donuts, this guy eating a donut, so it's kind of funny, but brutal. And we see pants and people that are being lit on fire. They're all wearing a similar color of jacket, and the cars are all the same color. We have some license plates here, Regret, Long King. I mean, so again, if you guys have interpretations that I'm missing, like I'm not one of those people that think I have the last word on everything here. Feel free to share your interpretations in the comments if you think I'm missing anything, because I probably am. But what I can tell is how beautiful this is. My biggest question, and it'd be nice if she could say, was this created purely digitally, or is this just a scan or a photograph? A lot of images have come up here. So as a collector, that's important for me because it's just not the same a scan of a physical work and something that if I suspect this was created on Procreate because the pencils are that good. And you see, maybe we can even make this bigger. You see in here, like I've used a lot of the pencils in Procreate, and this has that kind of ordered chaos that they have, where it's almost like there's something underneath the paper. And so not everything gets colored through. And so I suspect this was created in Procreate, but I don't know that. Okay. So it would be nice if she said. There is another work too, which I'll probably pick up here. It's expensive. It's not crazy, but I mean, it's all relative. Compared to works on Ethereum, this is like free. Okay. But this was also released recently, again, super interesting subject, which is the interior of a plane and the kind of claustrophobic space. And again, another beautiful portrait of contemporary society. This is what art is for in a lot of ways, which is just to mirror our world back to us, but transformed. Okay? And, just people on a plane, the general chaos of a plane. A little newspaper, Mondays suck, t-shirts wouldn't exist if we liked our job. Mondays suck, t-shirts wouldn't exist if we liked our jobs. So anyway, again, I'd like to know if this is a scan or a Procreate work. I suspect Procreate, but I'm not positive on that. So anyway, another discovery here, another new player on the scene, and this is the thing. Just because there's been people on here for a year and a half, for all we know, the greatest artists have not even arrived yet, one could argue. Okay, that we have to, quote unquote greatest artists, because who knows, right? I'm not here to tell us all. I mean, I may have my comments on some of my favorites, but yeah, we're not here to, I have my opinions, but I don't want to lord them on anybody. So we have to keep that as an open question. I mean, I'm onboarding people, once every couple of weeks, I onboard someone going like, guys, get in on this, whether it's an artist or just a friend. Last time it was a guy on the way to the wedding who's just in real estate and engineering and just a cool dude, my friend Florian. And on the train, we have 5 hours together. He's wondering what I'm looking at. I'm like, dude, get on board. You can still get some works here for pretty reasonable prices. So a nice discovery. Dreamy train. Oh, it's a train. I thought it was a plane. Well, I'm not sure it really matters. Plane would have excited me slightly more, but hey, train works, and there you go. Doesn't really change too much there. Again, I think this is on Procreate. Or she has really nice equipment, really nice pencils and paper. And that matters. It's sort of like in food. Your ingredients matter, like your materials and the quality of your materials totally matters in physical art. So it's something, don't stick with student paint because it's much worse. Use it to just learn the basics of color mixing, let's say, but don't stick with it because it actually matters. So this happened last night. There was an auction for this myth, it's again another sensational work by the myth. The intensity, I call it kind of hypnotic, these red eyes. I was thinking to myself, like each one of these elements by itself is like a creative, interesting element, whether it's the clouds and see the beautiful rendition where you get the line and then you can tell he's filling it in, but he's purposefully probably leaving it a little loose on a lot of the clouds. Again, this looks like Procreate, I'm guessing. But each one of these elements on their own, whether it's the mask or even like the trademark colors in the hoodie here, the lime green, like the pastel pink and green, each one of these is kind of like pretty original on its own. And when you put it all together, I mean, again, those last works that we're looking at is contemporary art gallery work, full stop, like no apologies. And this is as well. Like, I mean, the MoMA is not aware of what's going on over here. Because if they were, I don't think I would be bidding with web links. I went to sleep. It's at 4 in the morning that this auction ended. I went to sleep and I said to myself, well, if I wake up beforehand and I happen to be awake, I'll put a bid in, depending on what the bids were. Weblinks had it at 200. So life's getting more expensive over here, but I'm happy for Myth. So that's all good. So Weblinks put in a bid at midnight, 12:36 my time, and it ended at 420 our auction. So you see, I put in a kind of last minute bid here for 215 at 4 in the morning, and because I happened to be up, and I just thought it went really nice with that other piece that he did that I had also picked up, and I just saw these on the same wall. But I don't want to hoard all the myths, guys. So like, I'm looking for excuses not to. But if they're going to be left on the market though, at times for 60 euros or 60 Tezos for a 1 of 1, like, yes, I will swoop in probably, but I can't really afford it anymore. I keep saying that, and it's truer and truer. It's truer and truer every day. So I thought this was just a nice kind of, I could see these in the same room. Let's put it this way, different portraits of the myth personality done both, I think, in Procreate. So another, I'm tempted to call it another masterpiece by the myth, which deserves to be in MoMA, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know where they are. I don't know what they're doing. Like, these are the people with the money. Like, I'm just some artist dude, like you guys are. Like, we're just like, I guess we're just early. But it doesn't feel like we had a historic bull market in crypto last year. So how early are we? But we are early. I mean, they're unquestionably. Or maybe my taste is just different, and maybe I'll be proven wrong, and maybe I'll just end up with a bunch of myths I can't get rid of. But somehow I doubt that. I know, but who knows? Who knows? And maybe I'll never want to get rid of my myths. That's probably the realer outcome. So Weblinks put a 200 Tezos bid on that last one, and let's just actually quickly look at that, because he raised the price significantly. So still on a tear. And let me just say, Weblinks is a very nice guy, from what I can tell. He's said very complimentary on Twitter yesterday after the show where I mentioned him. Maybe he's watching again. And Sumi Reyusi, I hope I pronounced her name right, was also saying how happy she was because he bought a boatload of her work. And she was saying how happy she was to her work going to such a thoughtful collector. He was asking about the process. So hat tip to Weblinks, okay? Again, this is a whole ecosystem, and it requires artists and collectors. So everybody has a role to play here. And wow, is Weblinks ever playing a role? Because he was bidding. I was watching this, actually. You'd think I'd spend all my time on this website, but I just happened to be watching some of this stuff. Weblinks was bidding on this, what I consider one of Sumi Reyusi's best works, her most iconic. I mean, this naked woman, jaded, drinking her McDonald's with like the flame boots, however you want to describe all this, with the little tiny rainbow, and just a very interesting work. I remember buying this way back like 2 months ago or whatever, 6 weeks ago, and just being so happy that I got it. But yeah, so Weblinks, I understand where this is coming from. 25, 35, kept putting in offers that weren't accepted, up to 60. Only an addition of 11. Finally just said, forget it, I'll just pay the 200 that this is going for. So Weblinks is supporting the scene here in a big way. 200 Tezos. Okay, so works are starting to increase in price, which is good, actually. I love, it's a golden age. And put it this way, we don't want all the works. Like, you can still get that first work here for 50.5 Tezos cents, and she's going to burn the rest that aren't sold. Okay, so if there weren't so many opportunities, I would say, again, mixed feelings. Is all the art getting too expensive? But the reality is again, for an artwork, if the world is coming on here at a certain point, which I think is going to be sooner or later, even if it's 2030, you see even, and we'll get to a tweet here, not this one. There was a tweet, let's look, let me just dig it up here, because Colborne at the Museum of Crypto Art, I think he's starting to get FOMO. He's probably had it for a while. And he's a really cool dude, by the way. Like, I've sort of followed him for a long time. He's bought a couple of my works. He's bid on a few of my works. So he's a cool dude. But I think the Museum of Crypto Art is pretty Ethereum, Polygon centric, mostly Ethereum, but I think their platform works on Polygon, I think. And he had this tweet, which to me showed a little bit of FOMO. After the ETH merge happens, will you still create NFTs on Tezos? And if so, why? Now, some of his questions are often kind of clickbaity, and who knows if it's a social media person just trying to drum up engagement and interesting debates. But it does have a touch of FOMO in it. So I just want to point that out. Okay, moving on. It's funny how these shows, like, no shortage of content here. So Strange Thing releases another AI work the next day, September 5th, so yesterday. But now it's a one of one for 2,500. So we'll see if this goes anywhere. This is an interesting test. I was looking on the Object homepage. He's one of the top sellers right now. So, another very interesting work. The hand is kind of weird. Not sure what to make of that hand. I mean, for 2,500 Tezos, let's see if we can see what's going on in that hand. And this is another issue I have with AI work. And I've had a couple of thoughts. Like, one was positive, which is like, this is just an extension of conceptual art. It's kind of boiling down conceptual art to you have an idea and you can execute it. It's kind of, you could argue this is an extension of conceptual art in a weird sort of way, or there is an element of conceptual art when you're just coming up with ideas. Because I was thinking to myself, if Strange Thing hadn't come up with this, I don't think it would have been made. And that's kind of important. Like, then all of a sudden, to me, that increases the value. This isn't something that would have been made no matter what. If Strange Thing had not come up with this concept, then I'm not then it wouldn't have happened, one could argue, or at least not in this way. So it just complicates. It's not as simple as it's not as simple as, okay, they made it by pressing a button, so therefore we can't value it very highly because maybe that's unsophisticated. Okay, so these are the kind of questions I'm asking myself. I ask myself, am I missing the boat on the AI thing because it's pretty popular? Right? And as a collector, am I not buying enough AI art? And I don't know. But I do. Here's a couple of reservations, though. First of all, it's the resolution. Like, when you zoom in to almost all the AI artworks I've seen, they start to break down on the details here. And I'm not sure how much that matters, but let's put it this way. A lot of digital art works that way. But it would have been nicer if this was just like an oil painting. And I don't know if it is. And then we have this hand here, like, maybe, this raises questions for me too in terms of valuation. Because you look at the details, there's a lot of great stuff going on here. Again, another just kind of really cool work. But for 2,500, you do start to wonder. But I mean, nice details here. You probably can't see it. But here it starts to break down and get fuzzy. So that's another reservation I have. So again, I'm not coming in here with a predetermined decision of how I want things to be on AI art and whether good, bad, neither, whatever. I'm just exploring here with you before I actually use these tools. And maybe we'll, as I was saying last time, maybe we'll get some insights along the way that we can discuss. Again, the Nike symbol. So great concept. I mean, we can definitely say that. Quick thing on Louis Osborne, just an update. So he's trying something different with his market because I'm just going to read this tweet. Moving Cities 5, 24 of 25 editions. Going to try something slightly different for this drop. I'll be accepting the top 9 offers and 15 random offers at or above 35 Tezos tomorrow at 15 o'clock BST. I think this is a good balance, link below. Remember how we were talking about the middle class basically getting priced out of this? Now that this guy is really kind of blowing up. So this is something that artists are going to have to deal with on this platform, potentially more and more. So I actually thought this was kind of nice. Like, you know, it's nice, like, because he could just say, screw it, I'm going to take the top 24 and forget it. You know, show me the money. But what's kind of cool about what he's doing is he's basically saying, okay, I'll take the top 9, and then the rest we'll just do a lotto on, a draw. And that's pretty cool. So I just wanted to point that out. And also that look at all the bids. So his market remains very strong. I mean, we should probably all be putting a bid in, because if you get it for 35, you could probably, if you want to flip it, you could probably sell it for 100 the next day. You know, so that's also part of this. There is a bit of a hype side to this that is hard to separate from. But I mean, that's a market, and that's art, and that's everything. And we congratulate Louis Osborne for his continued success. He's actually just got on Super Rare, so that's going to be a super interesting thing to watch too, is how much does a 1 of 1 on Super Rare go for? So again, this kind of tension, I like them both. We've been discussing this on and on. I think they pair up actually quite nicely. But if you're new, I think you have to be on Tezos, actually. I'm not sure you need to be on Ethereum, which is kind of interesting. But who knows? Again, these are just open questions. And with that, let's call it an episode. Thank you again for watching. Until next time, take care.